Um, Welcome in, everyone. If you are, the kind of person who is insanely curious and always looking for that deeper why behind the headlines, well, you're in the exact right place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because today we are doing a deep dive into something that, well, it's been in the cultural water supply for a long time.
Oh, for years.
Right. But we have a specific source today. It's a really detailed transcript from a YouTube video by the channel Peeper. And this channel basically compiles and analyzes decades of celebrity claims, public statements, and some pretty wild allegations.
Specifically regarding the highly unconventional marriage of Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith.
Exactly. And look, I want to set the mission for this deep dive right up front.
Oh.
We are not here to just, revel in the tabloid gossip.
Right. There's enough of that out there.
Exactly. We want to explore the actual anatomy of a radically non-traditional relationship. We're trying to decode how two massive global superstars attempt to redefine commitment, right? Like, what does a transparent marriage actually look like?
And what is the psychological impact of airing all those intimate family struggles to the whole world?
Yeah.
Because I think we need to set the tone here. Our source material definitely has a distinct perspective on, who is at fault in this dynamic.
Oh, for sure.
But our goal today is just to impartially analyze the facts and the statements they present. It is a fascinating case study in what happens when the private boundaries of a marriage are just completely dismantled in the public eye.
Totally dismantled.
Yeah.
And to understand the current state of this marriage, we have to look at how it began, which, according to the source, was under a lot of duress and shattered by a ghost.
A very famous ghost.
Right. So the source pulls up this 2019 interview Jada did with People magazine, where she admits she never actually wanted to marry Will in the first place.
Yeah, she said she basically cried all the way down the aisle.
Which is just wild.
I mean, she only did it because her mother was like old school and insisted on it, and Will really wanted a family.
So right from the jump, you have this shaky foundation. But then there's the other issue. Tupac Shakur.
Right.
Jada constantly compares Will to the late Tupac, whom she called the greatest man she ever met. She even shared a story about how Tupac proposed to her, like, 30 years ago.
Yeah, and the source analyzes why Tupac is constantly brought up. Tupac is one of the only figures whose success in hip-hop and acting could actually rival Will's.
Yeah, he had that raw credibility.
Exactly, making him the perfect figure to get under Will's skin.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because I like to think of it like starting a new business, right?
Yeah.
Imagine you have a co-founder, and every single day you walk into the office, they just talk about how much better their last startup was.
Oh, right.
And the last co-founder was just a genius. So if a relationship starts with one partner openly admitting the other was a downgrade, how does that set the rules of engagement moving forward?
What's fascinating here is that bringing up a 30-year-old proposal from a deceased ex is just a massive psychological power play.
It really is.
It establishes this impossible standard. I mean, a living, breathing, flawed partner can never compete with a ghost.
A ghost never makes a bad movie.
Right. A ghost never says the wrong thing at breakfast. They are perfectly idealized forever.
So because that foundation was so unconventional, the traditional rules of fidelity quickly became blurred. Which brings us to the timeline of all the alleged and confirmed infidelity.
Yeah, the rumors started popping up early.
Around 2011, there was a massive rumor involving Mark Anthony on the set of that medical drama, Hawthorne.
Right, and the source brings in claims from Will's former best friend, a guy named Brother Ball.
Yeah, and he alleges this was not just a rumor, it was a full-on romantic relationship. Brother Ball claims Will actually caught them on the couch at home.
Wow.
And apparently, that incident reportedly led directly to Mark Anthony and Jennifer Lopez's divorce.
Which is wild. But, initially, Will and Jada firmly denied all of this, but then we see a shift.
A major PR shift.
Right. In 2013, Jada puts out a statement saying they have a quote-unquote grown relationship. She explicitly avoids calling it an open relationship.
Semantics.
Exactly. She says they can do whatever they want because they trust each other. Which eventually leads us to the infamous 2020 Red Table Talk.
Oh, the entanglement.
Yes, regarding August Alsina from 4.5 years prior. And the language they use there is so specific.
It's crazy. Jada insists they were amicably separated at the time. She actually looked at Will and said, "I was done with your ass. kick me to the curb.
Yeah, she was very aggressive about it, and Will actually had to push her to clarify that it wasn't just an entanglement, it was a real relationship.
But her motivation is what gets me. She said she did it because she wanted to, quote, feel good,
Wow.
and she found joy in helping heal somebody.
Framing it almost like charity work.
Exactly. So here's where it gets really interesting. Jada insists this was never an open relationship, but a transparent one, right?
Right.
Designed to eliminate the possibility of betrayal. But if you have freedom to have outside relationships, isn't transparent relationship just Hollywood PR spin for an open marriage?
Well, Jada's defense, according to the source, is all about the sociology of fame.
Okay, what does that mean?
She claims she knew what street fame brought, but global fame brings this tsunami of temptation raining down on rich, beautiful young people.
Yeah.
So her strategy was to avoid a culture of deceit by facing temptation head on. But you have to ask, does radical transparency actually mitigate the pain?
I mean, Will looked devastated during that talk.
Exactly. If one party seems devastated by it, calling it transparent doesn't make it hurt less.
It just means you don't have to feel guilty about lying.
Yeah.
But the transparency wasn't just kept between the two of them. And this is where it gets into really difficult territory.
The family boundaries.
Yeah, they broadcasted this to their kids and the world via a table talk.
Sure.
We are talking about Jada openly confessing to various addictions.
Heavy stuff.
She talked about a substance, which the source codes as IA to avoid demonetization, but it's ayahuasca, and an addiction to adult content.
And she's discussing this openly while sitting right next to her daughter, Willow, who is visibly uncomfortable, and her own mother.
Right. And the source claims it wasn't just talk. Brother Ball alleged that she played adult videos on the living room TV using hard drives.
In the family living room.
Yeah, and those hard drives were apparently later stolen, which allegedly caused a huge friction with singer Jaguar Wright.
And there were also the rumors of involvement with MC Lyte.
Right, it's just a lot of mature chaos in the house. And her approach to parenting with this stuff is baffling. The source talks about her catching an 11-year-old Willow looking at hardcore material on Tumblr.
Oh, yeah.
And instead of being horrified, Jada tried to introduce her to the more artistic material she preferred.
At 11 years old.
It's wild. She also confessed to being a former dealer. She said she chose to be a dealer rather than a dealer's girlfriend to maintain control. And she introduced Jaden, her son, to that IA substance, ayahuasca, which she claims cured her severe mental health crisis in 4 days.
It's just an overwhelming amount of information to place on the family table.
Yeah. It feels less like family bonding and more like dragging your kids into your own unmoderated therapy session.
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, what we're looking at is the complete collapse of generational boundaries.
Total collapse.
Jada frames this as empowering, breaking taboos. But the source points out the profound discomfort and potential trauma it causes the children.
Right.
Just because a secret is out in the open doesn't automatically mean it's healthy to share with an 11-year-old.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
So how does the other half of this marriage handle this? What is Will's coping mechanism for this relentless transparency?
The visual and emotional toll on Will is really well documented by the source. Fans started noticing him looking incredibly sad in videos.
Yeah, there were all those memes of him looking miserable.
Exactly. He was crying on air while Jada was literally laughing about the open relationship dynamics. The source details a crisis period where Will was just driving around California and drinking at a place called the Zen Lounge.
Just trying to escape.
Yeah.
But the most heartbreaking detail in this whole transcript is about Willow.
The letter.
The letter. The source says that a 12-year-old Willow actually wrote a letter to the deceased Tupac. She begged him to come back so her mommy could be happy.
I mean,
A 12-year-old.
that is just, it's tragic.
Yeah.
Because it proves that even at 12 years old, Willow recognized that Will's efforts were entirely futile.
She saw it.
She saw that Will could never win against this ghost.
Yeah.
And eventually, Will surrenders to this dynamic too.
Right. He tells Jada to do whatever she wanted as long as he was in the loop.
Which leads to his ultimate relationship philosophy, what he calls his GOAT relationship advice.
Yeah, that it's impossible to make a person happy.
Right. He decided to officially retire from trying to make Jada happy. He stated that individuals must cultivate their own happiness first and then come together.
So what does this all mean? Like, how should we view Will in all of this? Is he this modern, enlightened husband who has transcended jealousy? Or is he just a man who has been worn down to the point of total emotional exhaustion?
When you look at his retirement from making people happy from a psychological standpoint, It looks a lot like a defense mechanism.
How so?
It's a way to survive a relationship where you are constantly being told you aren't enough. It's learned helplessness. If no matter what you do, you lose to a ghost from 30 years ago, eventually you just stop trying.
You just give up the game entirely.
Exactly.
Man. So why do we as a society care so much about this specific celebrity couple?
Yeah.
Why are there endless YouTube videos, like the one from Peeper, analyzing their every move?
I think it's because it reflects our own anxieties.
Yeah, their struggles kind of force you to ask yourself hard questions about your own boundaries.
Right.
Like, where's the line between healthy communication and just toxic oversharing?
Right.
To quickly recap this journey we just took, we went from a marriage built in the shadow of an idealized ex through these really messy redefinitions of fidelity and entanglements.
And the semantic gymnastics used to justify it all.
Yeah, down to the immense psychological toll of airing every single family secret on the internet.
The panopticon effect.
Exactly.
And I'd like to leave you with a final, lingering question to ponder long after this deep dive ends.
Okay, let's hear it.
We are often taught that honesty is the ultimate virtue in a relationship. But if transparency is used to justify actions that deeply hurt your partner, does radical honesty actually build trust? Or does it simply weaponize the truth to avoid accountability?
Wow. That is exactly the kind of question we want you thinking about. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the narratives you are fed, and we'll catch you next time.